Imagine a loaf of bread that smells like toasted coconut, hides little pockets of chocolate inside, and needs almost no effort to make. No kneading, no mixer, no complicated steps. Just mix, wait overnight, and bake. So let's start. Start by combining 2 cups of bread flour. To that, add a cup of desiccated coconut flakes. I am using homemade. You can use store-bought too. If you wish, you can watch how to make desiccated coconut at home on my channel. To that, add half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chip. There will be no added sugar in the bread, so chocolate chip will bring all the sweetness you need. 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of instant yeast. Thoroughly mix all the dry ingredients before adding the liquid. Now pour in 1 cup and 1/4 cup of water. The water should be at the room temperature. Mix everything together with a hand whisk or your hand. This takes about 30 seconds. We are not kneading the dough here. Just make sure everything is combined. The dough will look very wet and sticky. That's exactly what we want. This high moisture is what helps create the light, airy crumb later. Cover the bowl and leave the dough at room temperature for 12 to 14 hours or overnight. During this time, the yeast slowly ferments the dough and develops flavor. The next morning, the dough should look bubbly, risen, and very soft, something like this. It will still feel soft and sticky, and that's exactly what we want. Resist the urge to add extra flour. Now it's time to shape the dough. Lightly dust the counter with flour. Gently turn the dough out on the floured surface. Use your hand or dough scraper or a spatula to turn the dough out. Using a lightly floured hands and dough scraper, start shaping the dough by folding the edges towards the center. Rotate and repeat until the dough forms a tight round ball. Think of it as tucking the dough under itself until the top looks smooth and slightly stretched. Flour a big piece of parchment paper generously. Flour your hands one more time and give the dough a final tucking under itself. This step builds surface tension so the bread holds its shape and rise nicely in the oven. If the dough feels too sticky right now, don't worry. That's actually what creates the air crumb later. Give a final sprinkle of flour on top of the dough. Now gently place the dough seam side down on floured parchment paper. Dust off the extra flour on the parchment paper back to the dough. Lightly sprinkle the dough top with some flour. Cover it with a large bowl and let it rise again for about an hour. During this time, the dough will become noticeably taller and puffier. To bake this chocolate coconut no-knead bread, I am using this cast iron Dutch oven, which will act like a hearth oven. Preheat the oven to 475 degrees Fahrenheit about 15 to 20 minutes before the second rise finishes. Place a large Dutch oven along with its lid on the middle rack of your oven. Heating both the pot and the lid is important. The closed pot traps steam and mimics a bakery hearth oven, allowing the bread to bake beautifully from both the top and the bottom. After resting for 1 hour, the dough has finished its second rise. Now trim the extra parchment paper all around the edges. Leave small handles on the opposite sides to lift the dough later. Using scissors or a sharp knife, cut an X on top of the dough. This allows the bread to expand while baking. Carefully remove the hot Dutch oven from the oven using heat-safe pot holders. Remove the lid, holding the parchment paper handles. Gently lower the dough into the hot pot. Adjust the parchment paper and cover it with the lid. The oven is now preheated to 475 degrees Fahrenheit and is ready to bake. Place the covered Dutch oven with the dough back into the oven in the middle rack and bake for 35 minutes. After 35 minutes, remove the lid, lower the oven temperature to 355 degrees Fahrenheit and continue baking for 15 to 20 more minutes or until the crust reaches a beautiful golden color. Get the bread out of the oven. It took about 50 minutes to get this golden crust. Lift the bread holding the parchment paper and transfer on a cooling rack. To check if the bread is done, tap the top lightly with your knuckle. It should sound hollow. Remove the loaf and place it on a cooling rack. Let the bread cool completely before slicing. Spread with butter, add a little jam, or simply enjoy it on its own. The loaf is not overly sweet thanks to the absence of added sugar, and the coconut adds a pleasant dose of natural fiber. Listen to that crust. You will hear the crust making gentle crackling sound while the aroma of coconut and fresh bread fills the kitchen. Slice the bread and you will hear the crisp crust. You will see the soft airy crumb and small pockets of chocolate. It's not overly sweet, just balanced and full of flavor. If you enjoyed this recipe, try baking this loaf at home and tell me how it turned out. Recipes like this show that amazing bread doesn't have to be complicated. Thanks for watching.